Sometimes when I'm on a Zoom call for really long, I'll stop and I'll just go still like that, and people will say, "Oh, I think your screen's frozen." That's my humor. Welcome to Thursday. It's hard to believe that it's Thursday. I don't even know what day it feels like, but it doesn't feel like we're at the end of the week and approaching Shabbat. I guess that just means it was a busy week and there was a lot to do. But I will tell you this, that this half hour from 5:30 to 6, I hope you feel the same way, is just this beautiful little stillness time that gives me the energy to continue on through the rest of the evening. Even if I don't have a lot to do, it just, I tend to get pretty tired. I don't know about you, between 4 and 5 o'clock. And once 5:30 hits, I might be exhausted, and then we go through this meditation, and afterwards the calm and peace is helpful to me, so I hope it's helpful to you as well. It's hard when we're not all together to get that kind of feedback on how things are feeling, but that's okay. Someday we will come back together. I did receive a question about that from Barry, one of the guys that's regularly doing these meditations, and I think that once we do kind of start coming back out into the world, I'm going to continue to do these meditations on Facebook Live, but I thought maybe we'd get together live once a week in the sanctuary and do this from there live and have people there. And other than that, I would either do it from my office or come home and do it from here. So that's my plan at this point, to continue doing these 4 days a week. I don't know what my schedule is going to end up looking like, but to have a half hour where we were doing this is important. So it's our final day talking about Hukat and Balak. And I think if there's one theme that we have really hit upon this week, I think more than a lot of the others, it has to do with the potential for every moment. For Hukat, and some of the things we talked about, is that idea that which makes us unclean makes us clean. Meaning, in our lives, every action or feeling or everything that we do in our lives has the potential to be both good and bad. There is a tradition in Judaism that we all exist on the spectrum of Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Ra, which are the inclinations for good and evil. And Judaism doesn't say that we're all one thing. There is no such thing as like we are sinful. It's that we're made with both sides of our personalities and aspects of our humanity, that we're both good and, I don't like to say bad, but not so good. And, we have negative parts of us, we have positive parts of us. And part of what we looked at the beginning of the week was that idea. We actually did a little bit of that last week too, and we remember on one of the days we were talking about what are the positive aspects of who we are. But this is more like that which we are has both sides of it contained within it. So we can use something in our lives for both good or bad, and as a matter of fact, maybe it goes a little bit back and forth between there. The other thing, and this has again to do with the now, with this moment and what we do with each potential moment of our lives, is that moment where Balaam comes and blesses everyone when he was sent to curse them, which is finding the truth of the moment and speaking to that truth. In other words, we live with a narrative, I think, a lot of the time. This is good. This is bad. One of the ways there's a woman, Lori, who we went to a session at Unplug in Santa Monica, and she talked about it as we have a weather report. The weather report, right? It's cloudy. It's sunny. This person's bad. I'm bad at this, I'm good at this. It's like a weather report. We just kind of put it out there. This is true, that is true, and this is true. And then we live our lives going in that direction. As opposed to if we live moment by moment and the potential of each moment, every moment isn't necessarily good or bad. There's no weather report to it. It's this very moment in our lives, as opposed to, oh, I know what that's going to be. That moment's going to be bad. I'm not going to like that movie. I hate all movies with X actor. But then you don't leave yourself open to what actually is in the moment. And my favorite character for that is that Bilam. I'm actually thinking about having that as my sermon tomorrow night in services, is that concept of, Bilam goes there thinking he's going to do one thing, but he can only do the truth. He can only speak to the truth. He can't speak to what's being said about a group of people. He needed to see that group of people himself, and it doesn't even make a decision on it. It's just, this is true. This is a blessed people, and so I'm going to bless them. And I think that's hard for us to do, because first of all, we don't like to admit when we're wrong. So if we have an idea, if we have a weather report about something, then that's the truth. And we don't want to go from it, because nobody wants to be proved wrong. So if we can go into every moment, including this moment, right? We don't know what the next 20, 25 minutes are going to have for us. We don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but there are some people that might have tuned in and said, you know what, I'm bad at meditation. That's a weather report. If you're going in with the attitude that it's going to be bad, probably will be. I don't know who said it. If you think, if you think you're going to do well, and you think you're not going to do well, you're right on both accounts. So, but if we approach our life and this moment and the next moment and the next as open to every possibility of what can come into your life, and that each moment has the potential to learn and to grow and to make something positive in our lives from it, it allows each moment to be a little bit different. And I think part of what we're doing with this meditation is we're training ourselves to exist in the now. All of you who have been, and I know there's many of you who have been basically for 3 months, 4 times a week, we've been doing this together. Do you think you're an expert at this? Are you able to concentrate for 20 minutes without breaking and keep your concentration on your breath? I feel it's virtually impossible for me to do that, although that's a weather report. Today might be the day where I'm able to completely be in that present, in that moment, in this breath, and stay there. But I think we're training ourselves to stay in the moment. Live with what is. Find the truth of this moment and deal with it in chesed, in loving kindness. That's what it's like we're training ourselves. This is called a practice, because we're just practicing at this. We're trying to get it down. We're trying to make it so that we can exist in such a way where we're in the present moment at all times, and getting from life what we need to get. I was talking with someone this morning, and they haven't been coming to these meditations regularly, but kept on talking about this idea of, we have to take this moment now, and we can't be looking ahead, and we can't be looking behind. We have to be in this moment to make it all work. And I certainly do believe that. And I think that, if we're busy, on autopilot, thinking about what was or thinking where we have to go next, we're going to miss this moment. We're going to miss this. We're going to miss out on the potential for beauty in every moment of our lives. So let's keep all of this in mind, our noticing the moments. Let's practice on bringing ourselves to a still place inside of us. Our breath, our life force, that which keeps us alive. No matter what we do, our breath always continues, and we breathe for right now. So let's get ourselves in our position, if you need to change up a little bit. And again, we're just concentrating on our breath. I know it may seem a little bit redundant, but this is not easy. So we're going to continue to practice. And regular breath. Sometimes you might need to take a deeper breath. Sometimes you might find that you have to yawn. What are you going to do? Be in the moment. Sometimes I find when I take a big breath that a yawn comes right after it, but that's okay. It's just about oxygen, I believe, scientifically. So, and we're in Thursday, we're going to ask for the feelings of joy and wholeness at the end. Okay. Just nice and easy breathing. There's no need to change anything, no need to fix anything right now. You can go fixing things at 6 o'clock. We just want to pay attention to our breath, how it feels and sits in our body. Pay attention to the sensations in our body, or even the sensations outside all around us. If you hear something, you don't have to pretend you don't hear it. Lean into it. And of course, allow everything to be as it is, just not for now. Allow everything to be because it is. And if your mind takes you away, with love, kindness, with chesed, just bring yourself back to the breath. I'll try to remind us of that here and there. Just want to invite you, if your mind has taken you away from your breath, to just bring yourself back. No judgment. It happens. Bring yourself back in love. There is some truth to what you're thinking about. So just return in love. I invite us now to just sink in a little bit. We have around 4 or 5 minutes. Let's move to our feelings as we prepare for Shabbat, a time of joy, time of wholeness. On each breath, may I feel joyous. May I feel whole. Sometimes these two things go hand in hand. Your joy makes you feel whole, or if you're feeling wholeness, then it brings you joy. Could be. Could be that you have joy in your life and you just are having a difficult time feeling it. Or that it's hard to recognize the wholeness that you exist in. Because indeed, you have everything you need. You have your breath, you have your heartbeat, you have your voice, you have your smell, sounds. What else do you need, really? Maybe a little food, rest, companionship. May I feel joy. May I feel whole. Sometimes it helps to put a little smile on it. May I feel joy. May I feel joy. May I feel wholeness. May I feel whole. May I feel joy and wholeness. With each breath, I invite you to allow yourself to feel these feelings. It may be that you don't feel like you have joy at this time. It's hard to hold on to it, but let's see if we can grasp it a little. May I feel joy. May I feel wholeness. With each breath. Let's continue on for a little bit on that. If you'd like to invite someone to stand in front of you so you could offer them these two beautiful feelings in preparation for tomorrow night and Shabbat beginning, where we can go still for a day. No need to fix anything on Shabbat or to change anything. Just to be, if we can. If you have someone in mind to stand in front of you, you offer this to them. May you feel joy. May you feel wholeness. And with each breath, you may offer that to them. We'll take a few breaths there. Feel joy, may you feel wholeness. And when you feel like you've had your fill of offering that to another, let's just bring it on to ourselves. May I feel joy. May I feel wholeness. Just a couple of breaths that. And then let's bring ourselves, for our last moments together, back to our breath and our stomach. How it fills and how it empties. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining me this week. Oops. I hope that that you have a beautiful Shabbat on Friday night to Saturday. You join us for Shabbat. But in the meantime, may you feel joy. May you feel wholeness. Have a beautiful evening.